For this. Okay. Hey, just if you can, I'll remember Peter Foster, and he's our Love Patterson leader, and his dad passed away this last Saturday, and so man, he's hurting. And to be honest with you, my dad has cancer pretty bad, and he starts up a second round of chemo today. And so I appreciate you thinking of him as well. If any of you all have any kind of prayer needs, I hope that you would consider posting it on our private Facebook page. I think that'd be really cool. If we all have something in common. We're leading our cities, and it's not easy at times for sure. But I would ask y'all if you could post on that private Facebook page. I think that'd be a perfect spot for just us to interact and to support each other in that way. Right now we have 29 people so far as members. So if you're not on that private Facebook page, just you've got to friend me first, evidently. So I've got to be your friend if you like it or not, if you want to be on there. But just type my name in. I think my last name is somewhat unique, so I think it'll come right up in your Facebook, and then I'll approve you to be in there. Well, hey, this is our new meeting format. We're going to see how this goes here, but once a month now, the first Wednesday in every month, 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time and 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this is going to be our rhythm here. We're going to shoot for 45 minutes. I'm going to totally respect your guys' time. I don't know about you, but most of my meetings are always an hour. So for 45 minutes, that just was like, that got me excited. Like, hey, we can do this in 45 minutes. We can be more focused in that way. Any topics? We want to focus on best practices and having some guests that come in. Any topics, any guest ideas that you have that you think would be beneficial for all of us, please just send that to me. And definitely want to consider that. I want these meetings more than anything for us to leave after 45 minutes and go, wow, that was worth my time. That right there was worth it. I need this. This is a good thing of connection, as well as just learning how to do what we do even better. Next month, speaking of guests, we've got Jim Litsky. I don't know if you know Jim. I heard of him. He's the executive director for Movement Day USA. And so have you been a part of Movement Day before? Anybody? Have you heard of Movement Day before? Okay, well, here's the deal. Movement Day is kind of I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of the umbrella organization. It's the largest organization that really is supporting things like what we do. City reaching kind of efforts, city movement, city networks is kind of some of the terms that are out there. And so they're based in New York City, and they started in New York City. Now it's spread all over the world. I'm getting really, really connected with them right now. I was on their staff meeting call yesterday. Super impressed. They have an annual gathering every year in New York City. This year, though, it's going to be online, obviously, and it's going to be free. And so their big conference, or whatever you call it, is going to be October 22nd. So mark your calendar, October 22nd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, so 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific. And it's really made for our teams that we would get together. Hopefully by October, we can be in the same room, maybe still at a distance, maybe with mask on, I don't know. But at least we can be with our teams. So it's not meant to be done alone, but there'll be interaction times with our leadership teams and how we lead our cities. So guys, I tell you, I believe in this. I think I just connect with them. I know you will too. There's a lot of networks out there like the Plow organization and others. I discovered a new one yesterday as well. So I want to have these people a part of our calls. We can learn from them. They can learn from us because we're in this together here. How many of you have volunteer days coming up here in just a few days? Yay, very, very good. Well, hey, if you have any questions that are pressing, it's a couple weeks away. Again, please post that on that private Facebook page so that we all can see and that we all can interact and hopefully be a support to each other. I don't know about you, but it's an interesting year for a lot of reasons. But like our signups seem to be lagging a little bit this year, and it's just there's this. I don't know. We have some amazing projects. We have half the projects that we had in the past, but there's just a lot of apprehension still. And so I hope that your city signups are going better maybe than ours right now. I know we still got 3 weeks away. I always get kind of like this, for some reason. But I just, I love my town and I want to see as many people involved as possible. I know you do as well. Hey, let's do this. This is kind of our little segment, we're going to get to know a fellow amazing city leader. Yay! And so Emily from Snoqualmie Valley, Washington. Greetings.
Hello.
So Emily, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I just want to say, Jeff, that I think we all see the work you're putting in to bring us together. The Facebook page has been really cool, and I love getting to hear from other city leaders. I also know it's really hard to be the voice that's constantly working to bring people together. And so we so appreciate you. I just had to say it. We just so appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yes, I'm Emily. Let's see. I'm out here in the Snoqualmie Valley, which is about 30 minutes east of Seattle in Washington. I have a picture behind me this morning because I think sometimes people hear Seattle and they think something different. Snoqualmie Valley is mountains and waterfalls, and we love our community. It's so beautiful. I am a half-time missions pastor at my church, and the other half of my time I run a community building coffee house, and love Snoqualmie Valley with the most amazing team ever. So that's a bit about me. I am having my first baby in a month, and I'm so pumped. I couldn't be more excited. So
awesome. We're happy for you for sure. So tell us some about some unique qualities that you alluded to your community. What are some unique qualities that you love about your community and some unique challenges that your community faces?
Yeah, so first of all, I forgot to mention I have Tony from my team on the call. Tony, will you give us a wave? There's Tony. Woo! Tony is she's helping me out while I'm on maternity leave. So super thankful for her. Yeah, our community, I mean, I think we would all say our communities are unique. In the Snoqualmie Valley, what makes us really, the story that I tell when I go speak is, our community is doing great in a lot of ways. It's beautiful. People want to live here. It's clean. A lot of people come out to enjoy it. And so it's very safe in most regards. Our version of building community is actually quite different than the Modesto story that launched. So for us, the challenge is really that we are geographically really spread out. The Snoqualmie Valley is made up of like 4-5 small towns. And so instead of doing love Fall City, love Snoqualmie, love North Bend, we really felt like what our community needed was love Snoqualmie Valley, and really starting to bridge this community together because we are considered far east King County. So the resources that make it our way are very limited, which means we end up in a very competitive space. Our nonprofits are competing, our churches are competing, cross sectors aren't working well together. And that's like, I'm broadly speaking, there's of course exceptions. And so we also have, I think this is probably common in a lot of our cities, we have a lot of people who've lived in this community for generations and massive growth. So we're trying to figure out how to honor these new values and the values that have been in our community for a really long time and start bridging these communities.
Okay, very good. So tell us about your volunteer day and other ongoing efforts that you're doing in your area there.
Yeah, so we launched our first volunteer day in 2019. And we were like, oh, let's get 300 volunteers, or like, let's really push for 500. And we had 1,000 show up. Wow. And our community was so ready. It was so cool. And we did. We pretty much completely copied the Love Our Cities model. I was calling the team probably far more often than they thought city leaders would call. I mean, down to like, the real, like, do I pray over the city leader day? Am I going to throw people off? Like, talk me through it, down to the details. The team was so cool, so helpful. And so our first year we had 30 projects, and they were all the way, like all the way across our community, which for us is a big area. And that was such a win. So we were just elated our first year. And then we moved that momentum into Christmas, and we did a community-wide gift card drive to support all of our nonprofits, all of our human service providers. That was really cool. And then COVID. So what happened in COVID in the Valley was really unique. Love Snoqualmie Valley became a quickly trusted resource. And I really credit my team for that. We have 7 churches that are very engaged in community. And so the Valley started really looking to us for ideas on how to work together and bring these resources together quickly. So we turned our website into a community resource page, and it was pretty much give help, get help. So if you want to give help, here's all the resources and ways that you can give help right now. And if you need help, here's a form. And we had a team of people behind the scenes that were connecting them with all of the resources that were available. We were on human services and city calls like almost daily in March and April. And we're actually right in the middle. If you go look at our website, we're right in the middle of transitioning back to what our website originally served the purpose of, which looks a lot more like Love Modesto. But I think as of right now, you can still see how we had created it and turned it over. We got funds from our county for this. And we were able to distribute just a lot into the community really quickly. So that was a huge amount of where our time and effort went last year. And then in that process, staying in conversation with the cities and the human services, we decided to put together a give and go event. So we picked a couple school locations, and Tony did a great job spearheading this project. And we had the whole community dropping off food. We didn't do clothing. It was gift cards and food and handmade cards. And then we distributed that across the community. So it was cool because a lot of the food banks and churches and everybody was trying to figure out how to do it anyway. So we just said, whoa, pause. This is what we're here for. Let's do it together. And now looking into 2021, we're actually doing our volunteer day in August. And we kind of wanted to just give it more time. And so we're going to do a hybrid. We're going to do this give and go and volunteer day combo this year and see how that works.
You know what's neat, how you guys, in the word of the year is pivot, of course, maybe that was last year's word, but how you adjusted with what you're doing to the needs that were before us. And what's so cool is like so many of our cities, I mean, I think most of us here on this call have that same kind of similar thing, like, oh my gosh, we can't do what we've always done, but our city's looking towards us. Like, what are we going to do? What can we do? And it's forced all of us to be more than once a year volunteer day. It forced all of us to do that. And we've been wanting to do this. We've all been talking about this for years, that we've got to be known more in our communities than just, what do you do? Oh, you're that once a year thing. What do you do the rest of the year? I remember one lady told me once, what do you do the rest of the year? And so it's cool how you have modeled that, and others are doing that well. The second thing that came to my mind too about your volunteer day, you came down to Modesto, I don't know, a couple years ago and just observed what we're doing. And every year we have that. We're not gonna do that this year, of course, but next year we'll do that again. We'll invite cities all over the country. If you want to kind of see how this is done, we'd love to, just give you a tour behind the scenes and in front of the scenes and all that, how it works. And so I wanted to share with you all, if you know any cities in 2022, will be next April 30th, the last Saturday in April. We want to invite cities to come to our city, but I also want to say this too. Maybe cities around you, maybe you invite them to come to your city and show them, we don't all have to come to Modesto, and, come to your city and they can observe how you do your volunteer day. And I think that's one of the best ways for people to see it and to grab a hold of it firsthand. Okay, so Emily, what is working well and what you're doing right now, and what's not working so well?
Oh gosh. So for us, I think our great challenge is kind of an identity piece. We really want to become our own 501c3, and really go for it. Like we really want to go all in for Love Snoqualmie Valley. So we've just been kind of floundering in that conversation and trying to figure out how to make that happen. And I think until we can figure out how to get there, we're just gonna kind of keep pushing. We're gonna keep pushing. We have a really strong team of leaders, but yeah, I think we all agree that it's time to stabilize our funding and identify the effort, the energy, the people that can really commit to the work. Our city is ready for it. Our community is certainly ready for it. They love our work. They love what we do. They want to support us. So it's really a matter of like formalizing, figuring out how to invest the time that this deserves. All of us wear a lot of hats. So that's our challenge. And then just because our community is so spread out and there's so many different key players, stakeholders, what is so critical for us and our success is staying really connected to everything, staying connected relationally to our mayors, to our churches, to the Rotary, to the Chamber, and doing it in each city. I mean, we really did choose to do this a unique way by bringing all these smaller towns together. So it means that we have to be really on it inside each of those communities, so that, trust is a big issue in our community. And we as a team, we knew like, hey, we can't come out here and do this great for 1 year. We're going to lose trust if we don't keep it up. And so we're kind of right on that cusp. We feel like we got to come out hot again this year. We got to show them that we mean it when we say we love our community and we're here to serve. So yeah.
Very, very good. If any of you are thinking of maybe it's time for us to become our own organization as well, I think that's what we do. We want to help you through that. I've started 2 organizations, along with my partner in crime, Eric Young. We want to help you if you feel like, hey, it's time to become our own 501c3. We will help you do that. And Jay has done that with Fulton. You got Corey here in Colorado Springs, and there's others. We've done this before. We want to come alongside you and help you, figure out how that works and the funding and all that as well. Okay, so how do you connect with businesses, congregations, nonprofits, government, schools, and different community groups get behind your efforts? What are a couple practical things that you do and how you connect with others in your community?
Yeah. I think for us, the greatest way to stay connected is showing up to all the community conversations. So, and we try to divide it up with our leadership team. But the first year I spoke at every church that would have me. I spoke at every chamber meeting, Rotary, City Hall, Town Hall. And, I grew up in this community, so it took me a while to be okay, like using my influence and being able to say like, man, I've been here 34 years. I'm going to call up my community and I'm going to ask them like, hey, let's use this relationship capital to make our city better. And so it's really like for us, it's all about relationships. It's about showing up and staying, really committing to those community conversations.
That's good. That's really good. Our discussion question, we're going to get in breakout groups in a little bit. It's going to really capitalize on that relationship focus right there. So what are some of the dreams the next 5 years? What do you see Love Snoqualmie Valley is going to be like in 5 years or 10 years or even longer?
Yeah. And I can close my eyes and I can see Snoqualmie Valley that is thriving in relationships and where the silos have been broken down and people know that they belong. And that's the bigger vision that we have, is that people like, man, I am so proud to live in the Snoqualmie Valley because I'm connected and I make a difference. Like my presence here matters. And the steps for us, like I said, I think our dream is to become a 501c3 here as soon as we can, keep up our volunteer day. But more than that, like the volunteer day is, it's the thing that we can attract everybody to, but the harder work is between the lines, and it's showing up and it's having those conversations and it's taking calls from the mayor and we don't know with this problem. Hey, our team's on it. Let us through that. Let us see what we can do for you. So it's both being a trusted voice, um, and really creating a community that people feel like I'm so proud I live here and I know I am a part of making it great.
Very good. So finally, any practical advice, anything that maybe you haven't mentioned that you could share with all of us and help us in what we're doing?
Yeah, I kind of said it earlier, like it took me a little while to be okay using my influence and to be okay, it's so cool in our communities, especially when you've been able to live somewhere a long time. Like some of my teachers, my elementary school teachers are principals and they're on school boards. And so it's just God put me in this community and he gave me an influence to use. And it took me time to be able to like confidently go in and just say, yeah, like let's do this because it's not about me. Um, it is totally for his glory that we get to watch this community become stronger. And then the other thing that I've been really learning as I approach my maternity leave is like, man, empower the people around you. And whatever you can do, break down those boxes. I put people and things in boxes, and it keeps me from being creative sometimes, and it keeps me from being able to go, hey, you know what? You are the one that's supposed to step into this role. And I really think one of the best things for me so far has been needing to get out of the way and watch other leaders grow and empower them to do that. Um, like Tony. Go Tony.
Emily, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you sharing. Wow, that is really, really, really cool. So here's what I want to do. We're gonna go into breakout rooms. I'm gonna attempt to pull this thing off. I haven't done this before on Zoom before. I've been a part of it before. It's been really cool. But I want us to break up in rooms of like 4 or so people each, and maybe just start off. Maybe reflect because we've got about 20 minutes left here. Actually, let's do 15 minutes so we can have a time right at the very end. Maybe what stood out to you, what Emily maybe shared, and how it relates to your city. But here's the question I want us to, excuse me, focus in on here. And this was dealt a couple months ago. Ian Stevenson brought this up, and Emily just really hit this thing home here. Relationships are our greatest asset and challenge, right? And so, how are you managing your relationships? And are there any insights you can share with the rest of us? So relationships are our greatest asset we have, and it's also the greatest challenge we all have, and we're in leading our cities. How are you managing these, in your city? And are there any insights that you can share that might be beneficial, for the rest of us here? So, all right, we're gonna try to make this thing happen here. I don't know if it's gonna work. I hope it does. We're gonna have 6 rooms. Are you guys ready to go? I think it's gonna work. Let's see if it works here. All right, is it working? All right, is everybody still in the same room right now? Oh no, Jeff. Hey Jim, does anybody know how this thing works? Help me with this if you guys know how this works. I gotta sign it. I don't want to sign people to rooms. All right, I'm just gonna sign, I guess. Let's try this here. Two. Oh, it's supposed to automatically do this here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing the best I can do here. All right, I have to do this. All right, we're getting there. All right, there we go. All right.
how we manage them, and
Oh, we get Jeff?
yeah, it looks like we get Jeff.
Briefly, just to see if this thing's
Yeah.
actually working, but it's working. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, keep going, Ken. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay. So like, and basically how we like manage like our you know, like our relationship assets, and if we have any like insights into, you know, cultivating them or maintaining them and that kind of stuff. Tricks of the trade, as I like to call it.
Mm.
I think for me, like I think
Yeah, it's a percentage, but still a huge challenge because everything depends on, and a lot of things went under, and some things will resurface and emerge, but you know, yeah, big challenge. And how well did you know Deputy Chief Armendariz? How well?
Oh, very, very well. He's a close family friend. Our kids went to school together.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, he's part of our circle.
All right. Well, I speak with him regularly, and
Tell him Brian Mark says hello. We miss him.
I will.
Tell him Jeff says hi too, man. We miss
I'm-
him. I told you, Nathan. You guys stole him from us, and I'm still upset with you.
Well, actually, he came here. So,
I know. I'm joking. I'm joking. It's a good thing.
No, I know.
We have a chief of police opening, so I keep trying to remind him that. But I
That is true.
think there's something.
Good. He could. I've seen that happen.
So, Mandy, how's it going in your world, and how are you connecting with
It's
people?
good. Yeah,
COVID
we have our day on April 24th, so it's right around the corner. We're not in any schools this year, which is really weird, just because of COVID, and the school district was feeling very overwhelmed. So we weren't sure we were going to have enough volunteers anyway to have that many projects. So we're doing a drive-through project where people can drive by and drop off encouraging gifts and notes to a Placentia teacher or school staff. And then we're putting together baskets that are going to get delivered to each Placentia school the week after Love Placentia. So we're excited about that. We're a little nervous because we have no idea how many people are going to drive through. Like, we've never done this before. Hopefully people show up. People are showing up to host it. Hopefully people show up to drive through. We're going to do a pretty hard publicity on that in the next couple weeks. But overall, it's good. We're in a lot of city parks. Our city's excited about it. They seem to have a lot going on too. It's been a lot harder to communicate with them this year than it has been in the past. But I think that's just par for the course with everything going on with COVID. Everything's changed. Nothing's functioning the same way as it was before. So, but it's good. We're excited.
That's great. And
Yeah.
so is it challenging to get people to connect with COVID and everything going on?
For kids, and then they are having their studio like just like a big open house for kids to come. But yeah, I've had 1 or 2 signups, and I'm nervous that even with my 4 little projects that people are going to show up, you know. So
Yeah.
hi, Jeff.
Hi, Brittany. So you're nervous. You're nervous as well about people signing up this year. I do know this, Brittany, after this is our 13th year of doing this, 3 weeks out, I'm always nervous. No matter what year, I'm always going, man, it's just, how come, what's going on? And somehow as that day gets closer, it all works out. You know, it might not be exactly what I want. I do know this year, and talking to all of our cities, it seems like there's just an apprehension, you know, and it is what it is. I mean, so we'll do the best we can do.
Yeah. No, it's we put it out. It's our job to put it out there, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
And however people want to respond to it is how they want to respond to it in a way.
Yep.
So
Our big service day is it's the first Saturday of October every year. And so it'll be interesting. Like, we're building out our projects right now. And I have this team of folks that help me plan all the projects across Colorado Springs. And it will be interesting to see for El Paso County, which is our county, what COVID looks like this fall and the impact of COVID this fall. So we have some summer events, some spring events, but they're all small enough that they're within the confines of what COVID restrictions still are in our city. So I'm just, yeah, like Brittany, you're talking about it. I'm like a couple months out from our service day, but I think it's just an interesting coming out of crisis. I think it's an interesting process. Like it's sort of the same, you roll with the punches, but you also prepare for the best and the worst at the same time. It all takes more effort for sure. It's like you're planning for the best and the worst and plan A, B, C, and D. And hoping that one of them fits with what
together, be it at the serve day or in other things, that we really are getting to know each other, that people don't feel just very task driven, that, okay, robotic, you're here to do this task and then we'll see you next year, but really to get to know each other and encourage each other. And I think more than ever, that is something that we really have to even build upon even more, because everyone's been so isolated. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Good to be with you guys. So I'm going to go off camera again, but I'm still listening. So
thank you. I love that part about building community.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the questions I have for y'all, I think one of our challenges in some respect with our end of the April date is kind of getting past Easter and that kind of, edges into building relationships, because so many of our relationships, and we lean into the church so much. And maybe it's just this year with, signups lagging a little bit, but to me, it seems like a bit of a hurdle because we have to get past Easter before we get in front of churches. And then we're in this final stretch and all of a sudden the churches are ready to talk to us and, engage with us and have us come speak at their churches. And they didn't give us enough time to actually speak at all the churches. But do you guys have that challenge? Is there a way you get around that?
There is not. There is not, it's actually the right thing. The whole reason we do this is to show glory to Jesus. And sometimes I think that I forget that personally, because I'm so focused on community service. It's actually good to take a breather and remember the resurrection of our Lord and Savior and the whole reason that we do this.